That's Kapichat! That's Kapichat! That's Kapichat!
Alright.
Right. I'm in the travel tavern.
Oh, yeah. Whereabouts?
Yeah. Where?
Yeah, where?
York.
York.
York. Yeah. So,
Lads' holiday?
yeah, it's fun. I don't know how Partridge lived it.
Don't think he was at that one, was he? But, have you got a trouser press?
I think. No. There's a hairdryer, which is handy.
You can take that apart if you get bored.
Yeah. There's a kettle, big bed, chaise longue.
Oh, that's nice, like the chaise longue,
nice.
isn't it?
Yeah. And the bed.
You've not been in that yet, have you?
I have. I just make it every single time I get out.
No, I can tell. Those sheets are clean. You've not been in that bed. You've got hotel quality Wi-Fi by the looks of it.
Yeah. Is it making good Wi-Fi's?
Good Wi-Fi's, making good Wi-Fi's, yeah. So we're Das Kapichatting with collars tonight then. Did you know that? Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah,
I
collars.
Can't remember who it was. So.
Collars. I did have a look before we came on here for some facts about collars,
Right.
but it was a struggle, to be honest. There wasn't much. Although there were about 21 different types of collars, but I got bored reading about them.
So different types. Can you remember any of them?
No. Dog collar wasn't one of them, because that's one of my favourite collars. Is the dog collar?
Yeah. Gimp collar, was that one?
Yeah. T-shirt collar.
Yeah. Collar.
Cauliflower.
Yeah, that works. Cauliflower. Yeah. Cholesterol.
Cholesterol. I watched that.
Yes.
Nasty.
Yeah. Collar. I can't think of any more.
Cholera.
Cholera. Yeah, cholera. That's a good one, actually.
That's a good one. Cap collar. Horse collar.
Flea collar.
Flea collar. That's a good one. They're tiny there, aren't they? Tiny little collars for them. They have really small collars.
Yes. I don't know how they make them. I don't know how they make them. Americans spell colour.
Color. Yeah, they missed the U out, didn't they?
Yeah. So they do color or collar?
Color.
Collar in America.
Collar. What do Americans call collars?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We've got the expert in collars coming on in a minute, anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we'll ask them. They'll know the answer. If anyone does.
Do. I thought so.
Well, they need to change the name of the band if they don't, really.
Yeah. To colours. Round necked.
Turtleneck.
Round neck collar. I said turtleneck. Not seen one of those for a good time. Good while.
Turtlenecking. Isn't that something? Isn't that something rude? Is that about poop?
No, that's no, I was gonna say I've got to censor myself. Oh. In engineering terms, a collar is something that you'd put onto a shaft in order to stop something like a sprocket coming off.
Brilliant.
True story.
We both laughed at the word shaft.
Put the collar on your shaft.
Brilliant. Oh, they got no idea what kind of highbrow interview they're coming on to, have they? Oh, it's 8 o'clock.
They're
I
young.
said they are young. They're about 13, aren't they?
Something like that. No, we're not 13. We're not interviewing 13.
No.
We're not putting 13-year-olds at Zoom call. It's
not anymore.
It's frowned upon.
Not in Finland, it's not. Right, it's 8:01. I did just text them and say, can you arrive exactly 8 o'clock? So this tells you a lot about this band, to be honest.
It does. Turns out they're rude. But
disrespectful.
In fairness, our last one we got onto the wrong Zoom call, so it could well be our fault.
That's the point.
Right,
Did I send them the Zoom invite for tonight? They've texted. Not at 7:58. They've sent a text asking if they can record. Is it all right if we record our end too? Record what you want.
Yeah, call her on it.
Their video won't have this on though, will it?
Although, because they're young and probably tech savvy, they probably got a way of looking into this before we even know that they're here.
True. Yeah, we're the late ones, I should think.
I just saw something.
There they are. Can we hear them?
I can't see anybody.
You're very quiet. Steve can't see anything and I can't hear anything, but another successful video for Das Kapichat. I can hear you now.
I can see.
You can hear us. Okay, that's good.
We can hear you. Can everyone hear everyone? Can everyone see everyone?
Yeah.
I can hear and I can see. But it keeps flicking between different pictures.
Change it together.
There'll be a button. Oh, he never uses his iPad.
What?
There'll be a button, Steve. There'll be a button. I'll talk for a minute.
A button.
Is that
Switch to gallery view?
It is Wiz Beach. I thought, as we're all from this area, or we all live in this area, we'll find out where you're actually from. You look far too polite and nice to be from this area. I thought I'd make us all.
If only it all looked like that.
Yeah.
I thought I'd all make us feel at home by putting a picture of home on here, and then realise we're all at home anyway. So kind of a waste of time. What's the reason behind? No, Steve's not at home, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Have you sorted your camera out yet, Steve?
I have. Yeah, I can see everybody all on the same screen.
Oh yeah. Was your background carefully chosen?
It was chosen. Can't say it was that carefully. I was like Fens, house.
See, we've gone for a theme here. We've gone for the Fenland theme, and we will spend a lot of time tonight talking about Wiz Beach and the Fens.
Before we start talking about that, can you please grant me permission to record?
Say no.
I don't know how to. We've never been asked this before.
Do it in participants, and then
We'll just have a team meeting about this. Just meeting. What do you think?
Do they look like they'll use the footage wisely or not? I mean, they were late. We did say just before they came on they're quite unreliable because they were late.
Yeah, I don't mind. I think we should say yes.
Okay.
That's my vote.
I think I might have found it.
Lovely.
Has that done it?
Thank you. Yeah, that's totally done it.
Lovely. So, before you came on, we were discussing the different types of collars that there are out there.
How many did you come up with?
We had the cat collar, the dog collar, the t-shirt collar, the turtleneck, the cauliflower, and the flea collar. Oh, cholera as well.
Color. Yeah, yeah.
Any others? Any others you can think of?
The questionable spelling of colours in American.
Yeah. So that's what we've been talking about in your absence. Right, we've done every time I say this, we haven't actually introduced you yet. Steve, you're going to do your introduction again.
If you want me to, yeah. If you want. Hello, everybody. This is Collars. They're a really cool band from our way, and they're good fun. They're good.
Yeah, we've got to be really careful not to disclose actual locations. We nearly did this the other night, didn't we? You invited us to go for a drink. I said publicly on Facebook, what pub are you going to? Then I thought, oh my God, we cannot give away such details about where we are.
So close. So
close. With our joint popularity, it would have been mayhem.
Yeah, we would have broken we wouldn't break the internet, we'd broken real life.
Well, I think it would have expanded to the internet, to be honest. We would have broken life and the internet all in one go. So, yeah. How are you both anyway?
All right.
What?
Yeah. All
excited to be on a Zoom call for the 1000th time in the last year, probably.
So excited.
Yeah, good. What is going on with collars then? What's happening in the world of collars right now?
Right this second, or
well, I can see what's happening right this second. But generally, you've got a new single coming out.
Yes, this Friday. Well, I don't know when this will go out. So either it was this Friday or last Friday or April 23rd, depending on
Saturday. It'll go out Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. It came out yesterday.
Okay, brilliant.
It's called Hey Lizzie, Lay It On Me.
Excellent. It's a rather cool song as well.
I've already listened to it 23 times. Because it was released yesterday.
Because we've got 23 views on YouTube, so
yeah.
What single is it? How many singles have you released now?
Well, we're really catching up with you guys. Actually, this is our second.
Okay, that's second this week. This week, I presume. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're really close.
Yeah. So how long has Collars been going for? Can you take us back to the very start of life?
Yeah, 2019.
Around
2019.
time, yeah.
We were a bit of a different band before that. We were trying to be.
Tell us about that. Sounds interesting.
We were trying to be a really heavy rock band, but we couldn't find anyone else to join our band. So we had to adapt. Work with just two people.
Did that start then? Did you actually start making noise as a rock band?
Yeah, I mean, it had various sort of incarnations. Weirdly enough, I feel like we've almost gone full circle because we've sort of like brought the electric guitar back in, and the drums have gotten bigger. I think really it was more that we were just sort of trying to find our sound, you know, and how we sort of fitted together. And yeah, I mean, there was definitely a moment where we'd been writing all this heavy material, and it was the light and more acoustic stuff that was landing with everybody that people seemed to appreciate more, and that sort of was the initial sort of catalyst to Collars becoming what it is now. All the earlier stuff I was playing acoustic in this really awkward manner to the side because I couldn't do it and play the drum.
Really like messing up his back.
And my wrist.
Had to come up with this weird extra strap to put on so that the guitar, so it would take some of the weight.
Yeah.
His own strap.
My own strap on.
Collars strap-ons.
Yes.
Hey.
Merchandise right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got to speak to you about this, Kane, about the drumming and the guitaring. Have you been doing that a long time? Did it suddenly happen overnight?
It's just Collars, really. It means to an end. It all began one fateful night. We were at the Blue Boar in Eye.
Yeah.
So I always think they're the other way around.
Always correct me when I say that.
I would think it's the Eye and Blue Boar. I don't know why.
Oh no, it's in Eye. We know what you mean.
Yeah. You know, we were doing open mics basically to try and. At this stage, we still didn't know what we were going to do. I think we still were thinking about getting other members in, and we just sort of bit the bullet and had started doing open mic nights just to sort of get out and start getting a feel for performing, because Dan hadn't really sung, she hadn't sung before, and I'm predominantly a drummer, so playing guitar in front of people was scary as hell. So anyway, we started to do a couple of open mics, and we did one or two before that, maybe even just one, I don't know, in Whittlesea, in this tiny little pub. And everybody loved it, so we thought, that's it, we're amazing, you know. And then we ended up at the Blue Boar, and it was absolutely heaving. There's loads of people there, and then we got up and started playing in the corner, and like just got completely drowned out, completely ignored. Both of us, me playing horribly, Dan singing all right,
making mistakes. Yeah.
And we just came off feeling awful, as you would. And I just had this idea. I just thought, if I could just hit kick and snare underneath playing the acoustic, they'd at least then people would be like, what's going on, kind of thing. And so I fully intended just to hit like 1 and 3 on the kick, 2 and 4 on the snare. Again, just for a means to an end until we could figure out another way of doing things. And then I just got obsessed with it. I just started trying to figure out more and more, different patterns and things like that. Yes, and it just grew from there, really.
It just looks impressive as well. You look like the coolest bloke in the whole of Finland, to be honest.
I look like the guy from Mary Poppins, boom, boom, boom. That's what I look like.
No, you do look.
I tried to play the harmonica as well at the same time, and that was hilarious. I look like Timmy from South Park. I was just.
And so the Whittlesea gig, is that still the greatest gig you've done?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
One other.
No.
We've done others now.
We've done others.
Yeah.
How many have you done roughly? I didn't realise you were so well, Dan, you especially new to this. Like, you've only been singing for 2 years?
Yeah.
You're like a pro.
No. Really not. I think because when I was a teenager, I tried to play drums for a little bit, tried to play guitar, tried to play violin, failed miserably at all of them. And then I thought, I'm going to go into music journalism instead. So I've been working in music journalism for a really long time, like since then, up to now. And so I know a ton about music. I just never tried the singing thing. And then it sort of worked. I mean, I was a lot worse at the beginning, and I'm not brilliant now, but it's just we'll just getting a bit better as it goes along.
The thing for me was I've been trying to do something in music for a long time, longer than I'd like to admit. And I was just finishing up producing with a rapper, and it's a similar situation that happened with countless things that I tried. A lot of rappers definitely the same, where the guy was just not really pulling his weight. We were like, I spent all these hours into like producing and do these tracks and all this of it, and the guy just it wasn't pulling his weight. So I sort of finished up doing that, and I almost was ready to throw the towel in, but inevitably I sort of sitting around the house playing the acoustic, and it just suddenly occurred to me that like Dan has this awesome like fashion sense. She loves music. She's obsessed with music, and it suddenly occurred to me, if she could even sing like a little bit, we'd be quids in, And I've ended up, I'm so lucky because she's an incredible songwriter as well. Really exceptional. So what was really just like, she looks cool, let's get her on a stage. There's all this other amazing stuff. So very, very lucky.
And you write songs as well, Dan?
Yeah.
She writes all the songs basically.
Really?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I pretty much like come up with a melody, write the lyrics, and then I bring it to Kane, and he puts all the instrumental bits to it. Because like I said before, I can't play anything. That even like the synth that I'm playing, Kane writes those bits, and I just learn them.
Oh, we noticed your we noticed your.
That too.
we noticed your synth because we used to have one of them as well. It's the to be technical now. It's the is it the Korg monologue?
It is, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
So have you upgraded?
Mm-hmm.
You have. What have you got now?
No, no, we sacked the synth player, so we didn't need it anymore.
Okay, okay, fair. Yeah, I actually wish at the time there's like a newer version of it. I think it's called like maybe Monologue XD or something. I don't know, but I didn't go for it because it was a couple of £100 more, and I was like, I don't need extra sounds. There's only a few different sort of voices I wanted. But actually, with the newer version, which I didn't realize at the time, you could export the click to headphones. So if you've got like a sequencer on, I would have been able to plug it in. So I spent ages like trying to figure out how to like send a MIDI out to my phone and all this nonsense. I just sacked it off now. We did get it to work, but it was just a pain in the ass. So
Yeah, too much fun.
That's such cool mission. I remember me and Steve were in Norwich and we went to what's the music shop, Steve? Sorry, you're not talking, Steve, because your internet's rubbish.
Yeah, it's terrible. PMT in Norwich.
That's it, PMT in Norwich, and we went upstairs to play with them. And we didn't intend to go in there to buy one. We were playing a gig actually, weren't we? And we just
we had a
in
gig
there.
and we were killing half an hour, weren't we?
Yeah. We got up there and it's like, yeah, we're buying this. We're getting this, and we did. So yeah, but yeah, a bit of geek chat there. Just noticed that in one of your videos.
Have you used it on any of the records then? The Dusk Plan stuff?
No, it was
Fuzz and Felts we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we used it for Fuzz and Felts, but no, we've been using you can't see it now, but in our little home studios, we've got the Arturia Mini Labs as our
Just a MIDI
little
controller.
MIDI controllers. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, we've just totally bored everybody who's watching for the last few minutes. So what, Dan, sorry, I'm just obsessed with this. You've only been doing this for a few years because people like, well, me and Steve, we're about 40 now. We've been doing this since like 15. So that's more the years than I can add up. Dan, how many years have you been doing this for? Music?
Well, you mean singing or?
Well, you've been singing for 2 years, but you must have been doing stuff before that.
Not really. Like I said,
You
I
must
tried
have
to do it
done.
when I was a teenager.
So obviously, like she was saying, she's a music journalist.
I sing to a lot of. I've been singing to a lot of tracks on the radio and CD for the past.
So from a very young age, you were writing and you were going to see loads of gigs, weren't you? And writing about the bands. You toured and done merch with Blood Red Shoes, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, done. Yeah, it's like I've always I've always wanted to be in a band and I couldn't play anything or sing, or so I thought. So I did everything else around bands. So yeah, became a music journalist, went on tour with bands, like befriended loads of bands, went on tour with them, sold their merch and stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to be in the band, man.
She always sells herself short though, because she's an incredible DJ as well. Like her and her mate Alexi used to put on nights in London, pack them out. I always say the story, but I've seen her play and like she'll open up with something. She opened up at this festival with Hole, you know, Courtney Love's band.
But that
Oh, it's a great tune, but like, I thought I could read a room, and I was like, there is no way this is going down well. You can't open it, and everyone just goes mental. Like, all right, fine, I'm going. So yeah, you know your music, definitely.
Yeah, I know my music.
We'll come on to that in a bit. We'll talk influences, and we'll perhaps just talk for hours, I think. But I was watching one of your recent interviews you've done on Facebook earlier, and Dan, you were talking on there about how when you're on stage to playing to two people, you're kind of in this dilemma about, do I go for it as a front person in a band? Do I really perform? Do I not perform? What do I do? I need to perform because that's what I do. I need to get out there and do it and practice it as well. But you can feel like a bit of an idiot sometimes with two people in the room in Whittlesea or wherever you are. Do you still get that feeling when you're on stage? I mean, you're so energetic when you perform. I've seen your live stuff, and you're so energetic that does stuff really go around in your head when you are performing about what you're doing in that moment?
Yeah, I'd say it does. Yeah. There's maybe the odd moment where, well, there are moments obviously where you just get a bit, you get lost in it. But yeah, it's really hard to not be aware. I mean, you guys must know this, but yeah, it's hard not to be aware that there's there's either a bunch of people watching you or a couple of people watching you, and you just really don't want them to stop watching. so yeah, I would say, I mean, I even think about, I don't know, it's actually bad to think about I was gonna say I think about moves when I'm on stage, but that's usually when I mess up, because I'm like, I should have been thinking about something else, should have just been performing and singing. But I guess when we practice and stuff, I do think about various bits, and also when we practice, I realize which parts of like the set I really need to take it down to, like stop moving around so much, because actually there's going to be a bit coming up where I need like all my breathing capacity. And before I sort of learned that the issue was I would reach those points and be like, shit, I didn't take a breath, or I didn't take like a big enough breath at that bit, and then I'd mess up. So I'm learning those things. But it's that we only just started playing like we were doing a bunch of open mics throughout like 2019, but we'd only played 2 proper gigs before lockdown happened. So
wow.
It's and we obviously with open mics it wasn't the full, we were playing acoustic, a lot of them, and then we started bringing the drums in. But yeah, like as a full kind of band, we'd only done 2 gigs before this, so it's hard to remember.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about like lockdown and how that's affected, because it did have both positive and negative aspects.
Yeah.
But before we go there, like Dan was just talking about like the energy levels. So one thing we have been really conscious about is not trying to tie down too much to an instrument. Because I think it's like really important, like he's pointed out, she does have like a lot of energy and she's really entertaining to watch. And so, you know, there's loads of times where I'm like, oh, it'd be amazing if you could just like play all these chords and this. Oh, we've lost
him. He's texted me. Hang on, what's he saying? Mine has frozen. We don't need German. It. We don't. Carry on. Sorry.
So we've been really conscious about like tying her down to an instrument. You know, there's loads of sections where I'm like, oh, it'd be great if we could, you know, you could pad this out with some big chords, especially choruses and things. But they're the bits where we need her jumping around and, you know, getting the crowd going and stuff, when there is eventually a stage and a crowd. So there's that. But I also wanted to ask you, talking about energy from an instrument point of view. So like for me, it's always been about the energy. That's what attracted me to music in the first place. You know, like being a drummer, I just want to be like, you know, and just go, you know, and just be mental all the time. So optimum energy level for me is 12, you know. But obviously again, you've got to read a room and all the rest of it. Do you feel that you guys are conscious of that when you're playing, like that you're like, I'm always thinking like, have I turned it up enough? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, always conscious. Like that first song you play, you almost know from that first song if it's going to be a good gig or not, regardless of who's in the room, how many people are in the crowd. You just know. Everything sounds a bit weird sometimes, whether it's the shape of the room or the amp that you've had to borrow that you've plugged into. You just instantly know. And if you hit that first sort of song, the first 30 seconds, and it just sounds good, you're off on one then. And it's going to be a great gig and the energy comes. But it's those gigs where you're really thinking about the sound, like, oh, does my guitar sounds really trebly to me? Does it sound like that to anyone else? And does it? And it probably won't sound like that to anyone out there because the sound man's done the sound. But on stage, it just sounds shit sometimes. And you just think, oh, this is awful. You come off stage and people go, oh, your guitar sounded really cool. It's like, oh, I worried about that the whole gig.
Yeah, that's one thing I realised actually, that it doesn't matter how bad you think the gig has gone. If you come off like no one's noticed, or at least either people no one is paying as much attention as you to every millisecond. So
we're really arrogant, aren't we? We think that people are paying attention to every word we say, every note we play, every drum hit. We think they're taking it all in. They're not. They're just watching these people move around and make some noise.
Yeah, Steve, we were just saying before we lost you that that we like the energy kind of levels live, and like my default is like 12. I want to crank it as much as I possibly can, but I'm always really conscious, like against the room, how how far, and I'm always thinking, should I be giving more in terms of energy? You know, do you feel that way?
Yeah, I probably do. To be honest, I turn into somebody else when I'm on stage anyway. To be honest, I'm a lot more outgoing on stage than I am in real life, and I always feel like I should be doing ridiculous things. I always want to jump out into the crowd and things like that, but I do manage to hold myself back from that because I know that would be ridiculous because they don't want me jumping on top of them because that'd be painful for everybody. But yeah, no, I agree with you. They're definitely, it's
The hard thing to navigate, isn't it? Because the other thing as well is like with our type of music, like it does naturally push and pull, in terms of like even like with the tempo, you know. So you know, like we film a lot of our rehearsals and I watch them back, and it might just be a fraction, but you know, some things just sit nicer, a bit push, some things not. Some days they do, and some days they don't. So it's really hard to sort of to navigate those things. I find, but that's part of the fun, I suppose. You know,
yeah, it is.
Some nights it's going to crash, and some nights it's not.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kane, have you played in other bands before, like more traditional band setups as a drummer?
Yeah. So drums is my instrument really. I picked him up at 11 or 12 or something, and yeah, just been in and out of bands really, all sorts of sort of things like indie rock bands, punk rock bands. You know, I tried to play for as many people as I could. So you know, there's a lot of sort of reggae influenced things back home. I tried to do sort of like session stuff in London, so just singer songwriter kind of stuff, as much as I could play basically. And yeah, and then basically just picked up a guitar along the way. Still don't really feel like a guitarist. I was saying to Dan when we were rehearsing the other night, I had this whole sort of this whole sort of dilemma, like while we were playing this sort of introspective nightmare happening, where I was going, I shouldn't be playing guitar. Like, you know, it just doesn't feel. Sometimes I have those moments, but yeah. So yeah, drums is. I still feel like a drummer, definitely.
We touched on this question the other day with Neil, who we interviewed, about what some people just say they're musicians. They're really comfortable with the fact that I'm a musician. This is what I do. I play music. We don't feel like musicians. We can play a bit of guitar and can sing a little bit and write some songs. We don't feel like musicians. We can put 12 albums out in a year, but we don't feel like musicians. What do you feel like?
Not a musician.
It's really interesting because it's almost like this week or maybe last week where I've been having this really strong feeling. Like I did a music degree and I hated every second of it.
So did I. I did that as well. Yeah.
Me
too. We all did. We all did.
I
didn't. And she's
I
also
studied journalism.
Yeah. She's the happy one out of the three of us. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I was hell bent on being an artist before it, as in like a fine artist. And it was only like my teenage years that like the music started to just take over and I didn't want to do anything else. But it's only been in the last few weeks where I've been really just thinking about it. And I don't really enjoy being in the company of any other musician. I enjoy being in the company of creative people who love making things, you know, like, and there's a massive difference between people who.
You mean like classically trained musicians?
No, not even. There's people who play their instrument and are obsessed with their instrument, right?
Yeah.
From that angle. But there's other people who are obsessed with, like yourselves, like creating art, creating music. And I really feel like that's a massive sort of epiphany for me. It's like it's always been about creating, not about being a musician, you know. Which is great because I can't play guitar.
No. And we just
Where did you study music?
What's that?
Where did you study? The university?
Drum tech. So it's like West London.
Right.
Yeah. It was affiliated by Thames Valley. It was one of them that when you picked up like, you know, your guitar magazine or your drum magazine, it was one of them advertised in there. I was like, right, I'm going. Right. How about yourself? Where did you study?
I was in Hertfordshire University, Hatfield, just north of London. It was
I know Hatfield, yeah.
Yeah, it's a horrible place. There's nothing there at all apart from the Galleria shopping centre.
I know it.
And yeah, I used to work in a Beanie Baby shop in there, which is where I used to do all of my homework because nobody ever came in there. So I just used to sit there and do more work. But but no, there was nothing in there apart from, at the time, it would be 2001 or something like that. It was just all of the garage music acts and everything that were coming out of North London, and it's just horrible scene, I thought. But yeah, drained all of the music.
Wasn't that a metal band, Sixth, from there?
They might have been, yeah.
Sorry.
Probably, I don't know.
Sworn they were from there around the time. Anyway, sorry.
No.
That's some niche knowledge there.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to apologise to any serious musicians watching. That is the view of Collars, not of Das Kapichat.
I mean, it's the view of Kane.
That's the view of Kane. Sorry, no.
Just in case you were wondering, Sixth are from Watford.
Watford.
Oh,
Watford, right. That's quite close. I used to work in a Little Chef in Watford when I was at university as well.
Oh, Little Chef.
Which is a great little link, that is, mentioning Little Chef, to how I kind of started hearing your music, really, because I saw a picture of you on Instagram outside what used to be Little Chef on the A17, and it's now Benny's Diner.
Nice.
Hey, that used to be a Little Chef. You know, it's not interesting or funny at all, but I really miss the Little Chef that's like on the A47 to... Wait, is that what you're talking about? That's not a...
No, you're on the A17 and Benny.
Oh yeah. The Little Chef that was on the A47 to Peterborough. I miss that one. We only got
Guy Hearn, that one.
No, further.
And weirdly enough, we've just recorded a Peterborough artist called Mark Stevens, and he has a song called "The Bench" about his granddad, and he talks about the Little Chef.
References Little Chef.
Weird.
I worked in the Wisby one as well. Wisby, I loved it. That was a good thing about Little Chef. When I was at university, I used to eat every night at Little Chef for free. I used to label up the meats and whatever that you'd get out of the freezer, date them for that night, and oh no, they're out of date now. There's 5 sirloin steaks. I'm gonna have to take them home or throw them out. And so all of my housemates would be living on sirloin steaks and everything. I didn't do that because that's illegal.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure you can still get done for that.
Little Chef are no longer in business, so that's probably why.
Thank you.
So, Kane, Simon, you said the first picture you saw of us was that one of us outside Benny's. What were you searching for?
Man and woman outside excellent old Little Chef restaurants.
He was looking for pictures of burgers. Or something he does.
It's been a difficult year, and I've run out of Google searches. So I was on to man and woman outside Benny's. Found you guys, bought a badge from you, which you delivered, and we got some great footage of the delivery.
I wasn't sure at the time if you could hear me. That's why I was being weird.
I was in a meeting at work at the time, and I was like, I could see you on my phone. I was in this meeting trying to concentrate, and it's like you.
Can you talk like through the thing?
Yeah, you can. So if I wasn't in a meeting, I could have said something. Steve normally gets his bum out on that camera when he comes to the door. So got about yeah. So right, we're going to get kicked out soon. Okay, so we haven't talked about anything. We haven't talked about anything yet. We need to go talk about influences. And are you all right if we cut this off and come back in and start again and not start again, but talk some more?